King Charles hasn't even been prepared to take away Prince Andrew's right to host shooting weekends. Prince William wants him gone. Prince William wants him out of the country. Prince William wants him forever exiled, ideally on some little Saudi Arabian island, never to return to the United Kingdom again. A huge division within the British royal family, with King Charles and Prince William now at war behind the scenes over the future of Prince Andrew as both the Duke of York and in terms of whether he can even stay in the country. Following these new revelations from beyond the grave by one of Jeffrey Epstein's victims, Virginia Giuffre, who took her own life earlier this year, having famously been one of Prince Andrew's accuser. That is her new autobiography, Nobody's Girl. It is serialized in the Guardian newspaper today. Now, I'm going to be very transparent with you. Initially, I was very against Prince Andrew, and I thought that he had made huge mistakes in terms of both his friendship and relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Then I believed that there was an almost hysteria that was going around when it came to this case, where both Prince Andrew and Ghislaine Maxwell were being used by lots of high-profile figures in the US, including Bill Gates and Bill Clinton, as the two people who were going to take the fall for all of Jeffrey Epstein's terrible crimes. And I also believe that Prince Andrew never had an opportunity to defend himself in court because so much pressure was put on him by the royal establishment not to destroy his mum, the late Queen Elizabeth II's Platinum Jubilee. So that is some of the context, that is some of the background to this. And I will also point out, and again, this won't be palatable to some people, but I'm just an honest broker, and I'm always going to say it as it is. Virginia Giuffre was a very troubled woman with a horrible past, and I feel deeply sorry for her, given the abuse that she suffered as a young woman. And I'm talking about as a child too. But she was proven as a liar on multiple occasions. She lied about her age when she worked at Mar-a-Lago. She lied about her sexual relationship with Alan Dershowitz, which actually never happened. She had to take it back and apologize to him because otherwise she was going to go down for perjury. She lied about an encounter with Prince Andrew, which was meant to have taken place in Santa Fe. And of course, famously, just weeks before her death, she lied about the fact that she was in a near-death bus crash while in Australia. So she's a troubled human being. But, and this is a big but, Prince Andrew, over the past few weeks, has been proven to be a liar as well. That damning email that he sent to Jeffrey Epstein after the publication of the picture of him with both Virginia Giuffre and Ghislaine Maxwell, unfortunately, does prove Prince William right on a whole load of levels. So this was sent to Jeffrey Epstein after the publication of that picture on Monday, February the 28th, 2011. And he wrote, "I'm just as concerned for you." I mean, remember at this point, Jeffrey Epstein is a convicted paedophile. He's gone to jail. "Don't worry about me. It would seem we are in this together and we'll have to rise above it. Otherwise, keep in close touch and we'll play some more soon." Prince Andrew lied because he claimed that he had cut contact with Jeffrey Epstein by that point. But I wanted to give you all of that context before I share with you the extract from Virginia Giuffre's book, because this is not a simple story. Virginia Giuffre, remember, became very rich as a result of her claims about famous men like Prince Andrew. And Prince Andrew, in his settlement with Virginia Giuffre, did not admit to any sexual relationship with her. In saying that, the publication of this book is harrowing. And the context, and this is where a lot of you will be very interested, is about how does this impact the royal family? As it stands, King Charles hasn't even been prepared to take away Prince Andrew's right to host shooting weekends. Prince William wants him gone. Prince William wants him out of the country. Prince William wants him forever exiled, ideally on some little Saudi Arabian island, never to return to the United Kingdom again. Prince William believes he's a big issue, just like his brother is a big issue, and actually, Charles's weakness has been allowing Andrew and Harry back in. So while William has a huge amount of respect for his father, I mean, we saw their public appearance last week, which was filled with a lot of affection, there's also a lot of trauma going on here, because William believes that Charles is putting the royal family at risk by not dealing with Andrew and Harry appropriately. So that is the context in which The Guardian publishes this harrowing account of what went on between Virginia Giuffre and Prince Andrew, said to be written by Virginia Giuffre. Andrew believed having sex with me was his birthright. Virginia Giuffre on her abuse at the hands of Epstein, Maxwell, and the King's brother. And Virginia Giuffre from Beyond the Grave writes, on the 10th of March 2001, we were in London staying at Maxwell's White Mews house, a short walk from Hyde Park. Maxwell woke me up that morning by announcing in a sing-songy voice, "Get out of bed, sleepyhead." It was going to be a special day, she said. Just like Cinderella, I was going to meet a handsome prince. Her old friend Prince Andrew would be dining with us that night, she said, and we had lots to do to get me ready. Maxwell and I spent most of that day shopping. She bought me an expensive purse from Burberry and 3 different outfits. When we got back to her house, I laid them out on the bed. There were 2 sexy, sophisticated dresses she had picked out and a third option that I'd lobbied for. A pink V-neck sleeveless mini t-shirt and a sparkly multicolored pair of jeans embroidered with a pattern of interlocking horses. After I showered and dried my hair, I put on the jeans and top, which left a strip of my stomach exposed. Maxwell wasn't thrilled, but like most teenage girls then, I idolized Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera, and the third outfit was something I imagined the two of them might wear. When Prince Andrew arrived at the house that evening, Maxwell was more cautious than usual. Guess Jenna's age, she urged the prince after she introduced me. The Duke of York, who was then 41, guessed correctly. 17. My daughters are just a little younger than you, he told me, explaining his accuracy. As usual, Maxwell was quick with a joke. I guess we will have to trade her in soon. In contrast to his appearance today, stout, white-haired and jowly, Prince Andrew then was still relatively fit, with short-cropped brown hair and youthful eyes. He'd long been known as the playboy of the royal family. When I noticed that Epstein called the Prince Andy, I began to call him that too. As we chatted in Maxwell's entryway, I suddenly thought of something. My mom would never forgive me if I met someone as famous as Prince Andrew and didn't pose for a picture. I ran to get a Kodak Funsaver from my room, then returned and handed it to Epstein. I remember the prince putting his arm around my waist as Maxwell grinned behind me. Epstein snapped the photo. After a bit more small talk, the 4 of us headed out into the cold spring air. We went to a restaurant for dinner, and afterward to an exclusive nightclub called Tramp. The prince went to the bar and came back with a cocktail for me. Then he invited me to dance. He was sort of a bumbling dancer, and I remember he sweated profusely. On the way back, Maxwell told me when we get home, you were to do for him what you do for Jeffrey. Back at the house, Maxwell and Epstein said goodnight and headed upstairs, signalling it was time that I take care of the prince. In the years since, I've thought a lot about how he behaved. He was friendly enough, but still entitled, as if he believed having sex with me was his birthright. I drew him a hot bath, we disrobed and got in the tub, but didn't stay there long because the prince was eager to get to the bed. He was particularly attentive to my feet, caressing my toes and licking my arches. That was a first for me, and it tickled. I was nervous he would want me to do the same to him, but I needn't have worried. He seemed in a rush to have intercourse. Afterward, he said thank you in his clipped British accent. In my memory, the whole thing lasted less than half an hour. The next morning, Maxwell told me you did well, the prince had fun. Epstein would give me $15,000 for servicing the man the tabloids called Randy Andy. My second encounter with Prince Andrew took place about a month later at Epstein's townhouse in New York. Epstein greeted Andrew and brought me to his living room where Maxwell and I were sitting. Another one of their victims, Joanna Soberg, arrived soon after. Maxwell then announced to the prince that she had purchased him a joke gift, a puppet that looked just like him. He suggested we pose for a photo with it. The prince and I sat down next to each other on the couch, and Maxwell put the puppet in my lap, positioning one of his hands on one of my breasts. Then she put Sjoberg on the prince's lap, and the prince put his hand on Sjoberg's breast. The symbolism was impossible to ignore. Joanna and I were Maxwell and Epstein's puppets, and they were pulling the strings. I don't know exactly when I had sex with Prince Andrew for the third time, but I do know the location: a 72-acre island Epstein owned in the US Virgin Islands. The private sanctuary right next to St. Thomas Island was called Little St. James, but Epstein liked to call it Little St. Jeff's. I also know that it was not just the two of us this time, it was an orgy. I was around 18, I said in a sworn declaration in 2015. Epstein, Andy, and approximately 8 other girls and I had sex together. The other girls all appeared to be under the age of 18 and didn't really speak English. Epstein laughed about how they couldn't really communicate, saying they are the easiest girls to get along with. Since I gave that account, Epstein's pilot has said in a deposition that a coded notation that he made on his flight log for 4th of July 2001 referred to Prince Andrew. He said that Epstein, the prince, another woman and I flew from St. Thomas that day back to Palm Beach. I guess it's possible that the orgy I remembered occurred in the days leading up to that flight, which would mean I was still 17. I'll probably never know the date for certain. What I do know, because Epstein told me, is that Jean-Luc Brunel, the French modelling agent who was also in attendance, supplied the other girls who took part. There were 2 footnotes to this book, serialized in The Guardian. Virginia Giuffre died by suicide on the 25th of April 2025. In February 2022, her lawyers obtained a settlement from Prince Andrew. It was made without any admission of liability on his part, and he continues to deny Giuffre's allegations that he had sex with her, that she had been trafficked to him by Epstein, or indeed that he had even met her.